All year they wait for it. The first Saturday in July. Cycling fans, it's upon us. The start of the Tour de France. Welcome to the France 24 interview. I'm François Picard. It's an honor to be joined by multiple Tour stage winner Cédric Vasseur, who wore the yellow jersey. We'll be asking him about it in a moment. Today, manager of the French team Cofidis. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Let's cut to the chase here. You were 15 years old. The year was 1985. The last time a Frenchman won the Tour de France. Is it for this year?
We are all expecting that. Of course, it's a long wait, and with the defection of Chris Froome, Tom Dumoulin, Roglic, we are all expecting a win from Romain Bardet or Thibaut Pinot. So we are so much waiting for that French victory. But you know, the Tour de France is something more than just a national event. Now it's an international event, and it's the most difficult event to catch.
No, you're managing expectations there. It doesn't sound from what you're saying that it's going to be this year.
I think we are having a real favorite in Ineos team, who is Egan Bernal. He's really strong. He has the experience of Ineos, but you never know. In 3 weeks races, everything can happen. I'm pretty sure a French will be on the podium, but you know, podium can be second also and third. So we just wish a French could win this year.
All right. So you mentioned Ineos. That's the former Team Sky. We'll talk about them in a minute.
Yeah.
First, let's go over the course a second. You know, the Tour de France, one year they go clockwise. The next year they go counterclockwise. And that'll be the case this year. Starting in Brussels, going through the Vosges Mountains before the Pyrenees and the Alps. And we've noticed in past years that those first mountain stages, the hills are not as high, but nonetheless, it's often where the race is almost decided.
Yeah, you know, the riders are coming to the Tour with a specific level, and La Planche des Belles Filles, for instance, would be for sure the first important point for the GC riders, because it's so difficult. It's not so long, but you need a real power in the legs. So I think the first 3-4 guys in Planche des Belles Filles will be the riders who will fight for the GC at the end.
Fight for the GC at the end?
Yeah.
Your man, 23-year-old Jesus Herrada?
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be a Frenchman winning the Tour, but...
No, we are not coming with the expectation of a GC. We are only coming here with the expectation of winning a stage. This is important. And you never know, you know, we saw the race of the Tour de France this year. Jesus won in Mont Ventoux. You know, Mont Ventoux is something unbelievable. He's in top shape. We are discovering something. So we can be, I think with the top 10, we would be happy with Jesus. We are not going to fix anything more. But you never know, a breakaway with 10, 15 guys with Jesus Herrada who can take 5-6 minutes, then we can go for the GC.
All right, a perhaps more open race. You mentioned early favorites like Primo Roglic, like Tom Dumoulin, like Chris Froome that are out. Nonetheless, Team Ineos, the former Team Sky, they have the defending champion, Geraint Thomas, and they have this 23-year-old Colombian everyone is talking about, Egan Bernal. Is it Ineos's to lose?
Ineos is the team to beat in order to win the Tour de France, that's for sure, because Dave Bradford, he succeeded in building a very strong team in 3 weeks races like the Tour de France. He has the experience with Bradley Wiggins, who was the first guy to win for Sky. Then we had Chris Froome. Last year we got Geraint Thomas, who won the Tour de France. So there is a lot of experience and also power riders in the team. It will be difficult to beat them, but I think without Chris Froome, then Bernal is more young, more unexperienced riders, and you never know. So on the paper...
He's 22. Can a 22-year-old win the Tour?
He can. He would be maybe the youngest guy. I don't know the history of the Tour de France, but I think he would be for sure one of the youngest guys to win the Tour de France. He won this year Paris-Nice. He won Tour of Switzerland. I think he's ready for the win in the Tour. So we just sometimes under-expect the pressure on the shoulder of the top favorite of the Tour de France. And when you won already 1 or 2 Tour de France, it's easy to deal. Bernal never won the Tour de France. So maybe he can lose the Tour with the pressure.
All right, we'll see. That pressure is, of course, it's a different race from all the others. A year ago, you were outspoken. You said it would be better if Chris Froome did not show up. This was because there was a suspicion of failing a dope test on the Tour of Spain the previous year. He did, and it turned out to be a match within the team between him and Geraint Thomas. Your thoughts about Team Ineos and the fact that they seem to be crushing the competition in the way that other teams have crushed the competition in the past?
Yeah, but I think, it's a special management when you are having several potential winners of the Tour de France. I think the business of Dave Bradford is try to push everybody to reach 100% of their power. So I think when you have a real challenger in the team, you are really forcing the others to work harder and to play harder in the race. So I think Geraint Thomas learned a lot from Chris Froome. And I think with Chris Froome, it could be better last year, and he took the opportunity. Next year, we're not sure. I think with Egan Bernal, it will be different. And I'm not sure that they can deal in the same way than last year.
What sets Ineos apart from the others? Is it money? Just that they are able to buy the best riders?
Yeah, the money is a fact. When you are having something like £40 million, it's something important. It's like the Barca or Real de Madrid in cycling. It's the team who is having almost twice the power of the second team behind, like Deconin Quick-Step, for instance. But money doesn't make everything. I think Dave Bradford is really a good manager. He has also a lot of, the structure is something unbelievable. You have a chef for cooking. You are having a lot of person. It's like a real factory. And I think it's more easy to make a big factory when you are having 40 million pounds than when you are having 10 million.
Cédric Vasseur, you wore yellow on the Tour de France, and you did it with a solo dash.
Yeah, a crazy one.
Are crazy ones still possible in 2019?
It will be difficult because now I think everybody is arriving in the Tour with a specific task to deal with. You are having a sprinter, then you have to stay close to your sprinter to protect him and to push him.
So how do you make it more unpredictable?
I think there were no radio. At this period, we had no radio between the sports directors. So we had no straight information. So
because that every year people say, they should ban the radio headsets.
Exactly.
You're in favor.
I think if we want to see again a more spectacular race, yes, because when you are having a radio, you are having the information at the same time. So without a radio, sometimes a rider or a group of riders can go in the breakaway. They can take 2 minutes, and when you just know that this guy is in the breakaway, it's 2 minutes, it's too late. But now when a rider is in the breakaway, when he gets 10 seconds, you already know, even if you are in the 120th place in the bunch. So I think the radio changed a little bit the physiognomy of the race, but I think also that the Tour de France is the most prestigious race to win, so we take a little bit less risk also.
Yeah, everyone's nervous and
more on the reserve.
On the reserve, and we see it during the first weeks, especially the first 2 weeks of the race, that tension there. When you look at how popular there's two tales here if you want to look at it. On the one hand, there's the popularity of the Tour, and it seems to grow every year. And on the other hand, there's still these clouds of suspicion. We mentioned Chris Froome last year. How's cycling doing?
Cycling is getting better and better. I think we had some black years. We had some big troubles in cycling with cheater people. And I think everybody understood that we have to organize a better anti-doping rules. And now I think everybody is really controlled from the 1st of January till the end of December. We are having a passport biologique, we call that. So we are having a real biological identity card of everybody. So when somebody is just going a little bit over the limit, is just under the radar. And when you are under the radar, you cannot go anymore. I think there were not enough radar in the past. And, when you are having a lot of person, you can be sure of 95%, but there's always 5% of people who's maybe trying to go in another way.
So you have this sport where on the one hand, huge inroads in new places, you might say, like the UK, where now the Tour de France is huge, and we're going to see it at the end of the year when there's the World Championships. But there's also the tradition, and the start of the Tour this year is in Brussels. I know you raced at the end of your career for a Belgian team, and you commented as a sports journalist for Belgian broadcasting. What does the Tour de France in Brussels mean?
It will be amazing. It will be something incredible because, you know, the most prestigious rider of ever in cycling is Eddy Merckx. And Eddy Merckx is already 50 years. He won his first Tour de France. So it will be a great party because Belgian people also like to party. They like cycling. They're crazy about cycling. Cycling is a religion in Belgium. So it will be something amazing. And I think for this 100 birthdays of the yellow jersey, the Tour de France had to start from Brussels. So we are expecting a big crowd.
You had 5 days in yellow.
Yeah.
You still talk about it all the time? Do people still stop you on the street?
Yeah, and this is what I'm also talking to my riders. When you just stop your career, the only races who interest the people is the Tour de France. You can win 100 races of a smaller level. The only one the people will talk about will be the one you won in the Tour de France. And when you had the chance to wear the yellow jersey, then it's something unbelievable because it's like something magical on the shoulder.
All right, and that magic begins this coming Saturday. Cédric Vasseur, team manager of Cofidis, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here in the France 24 interview.